The environment around supply chains actually is actually quite good right now. There's a lot more certainty than certainly we've had the last couple of years. There is some uncertainty around where we might go with tariffs. And when I look at our supply chain, I actually think we're fairly representative of global multinational companies, and that about half our sales are outside the U.S., half are in. We manufacture around the world. And we effectively where we sell product, we make product. So we have a very regionalized supply chain. Most of what we sell in the US, for example, we make and source right here. There are a couple of things that chemical-wise, you mentioned specialty blade steel, where those industries just don't exist in the States. And we have to go outside the United States in this case to go source those materials. The good news for us is only about 5% of our cost basket would be subject to tariffs, we think, based on where they might go. The bulk of our costs would be unaffected. And there's primarily these specialty types of industries that just don't exist here and maybe are too expensive from an investment standpoint to make work here, that then, we, like everyone else, will potentially be subject to higher cost in some cases.
So with the context that, those materials sourced outside of the U.S. that aren't available in the U.S. are small of your overall basket, just 5%, like you said, even still, for those materials that you can't get in the U.S., what is your plan when it comes to passing those costs on to consumers? What does the decision tree look like versus when it comes to either protecting your margins, passing it on? What are you thinking?
Yeah, our focus has been on cost productivity, Katie. We are very proud of our ability to generate increased cost productivity every single year as a way to offset the inflation that we face. And as an example, the year we just finished, we grew gross margins by a little under 150 basis points. So we have margins up with very little pricing, and that's around the cost productivity work that we do, or we try to eliminate costs that the consumer doesn't care about. A lot of automation, a lot of just looking at how we can optimize our end-to-end supply chain and take out unnecessary cost. We think we can generate 200 to 300 basis points a year of cost productivity, and that will be where we go to first to offset any new headwinds that may come via tariffs.
When we think about those headwinds, the dollar is perhaps one of them. As an international company, Rod, how do you think of it? You have already told your investors, analysts, that it could continue to be a headwind going into next year, but how much?
Yeah, we just announced guidance for the year ahead last week. As you point out, one of the headwinds we do face is a strong dollar. And so those like us that operate around the globe and have long exposures, our longest exposure, for example, is to the Japanese yen. And so as the dollar strengthens versus the yen, everything we bring back is just less valuable, as we have to put dollars in the bank. That's what our investors want. And so as we go through all those transactions and trades to bring our foreign currency back into dollars, there's an impact. We're on now what is a 3-year running negative impact or a headwind to our business from a profitability standpoint based on the strength of the dollar. I suspect it will continue to strengthen from here based on what I'm reading, and we're prepared for that. Again, cost productivity is some of the work we go to. We also look at where we do our business and how we create more natural hedges over time. And we do a little bit of locking in and trying to manage the exposures that we have and locking in some rates when we start to look out over the mid to longer term. So there are things you can go to, but in the moment we're in, a strong dollar is something that people like us that operate outside the U.S. with about half our business are going to just face a headwind through this period. I would say offsetting that, however, potentially is lower oil prices. When you look at the petro complex of oils and all the polyethylene propylenes and what go into, oil feeding into our business, that's a little bit of a tailwind as well. So there are some natural offsets, but currencies definitely hurt for us with the strength of the dollar.
Well, I mean, if you get a lower tax rate, that would be a tailwind as well. But President Trump has qualified his intentions to lower taxes with talking about the fact that he only wants to give the benefit to people who manufacture in the U.S. I know you're headquartered here in Connecticut. You've got 7,000 about employees. What does your production chain look like, and have you made any moves?
We would benefit from that. We manufacture most of what we sell in the United States, in the U.S. We make razor blades in Connecticut and Tennessee. Our FemCare brands, Playtex, Carefree, Stay Free, we make in Dover, Delaware. We're the only manufacturer that sells sun care that makes our own production. Everyone else has gone to third party. In this region now, we make our sun care in Ormond Beach, Florida, just outside of Daytona. And Wet One's a very popular leading brand in its space. We make in Sydney, Ohio. And so we're a domestic manufacturer. We're proud of that. And we think we benefit from it actually in the environment going forward.